Hi, Ed Diaz here. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the fundamentals of sequencing inside the Roland FANTOM-O. All right, let's get started. So let's take a look at the FANTOM-O sequencer, and we have our sequencer section right here, and we'll notice right away in the sequencer section we have a pattern, we have a group, and we have a song. All right, so what that is the sequencer is broken up in such a way that you have some options when you're inputting your information, your musical information, your notes, and so forth, and then a way to kind of bring it all together in a group, and then ultimately a way to play it back truly in a song mode, and also that song mode presents us with a linear playback there. That being said, the pattern also has a way of linear sequencing. Okay, so let me explain. All right, so let's take a look at the pattern sequencer real quick. When we look inside the pattern sequencer, we have up to 16 tracks we can do. And I'll make it so you can see all 16 tracks. 16 tracks, each one of these patterns can have up to 64 measures. So if I want to, let me go ahead and turn the volume down so you guys can see. I can come into here and I can actually record up to 64 measures per each one of these squares, each one of these patterns in here. Now, the way I record them is in a linear fashion, but here's the thing. Each one of these can be a separate instrument. All right. Now, a lot of people will complain and say, well, that's not true linear sequencing. And okay, yeah, you're right. That's more pattern-based sequencing. But as you see in the subsequent videos, we're going to show how I can go ahead and maybe record a drum part in 6. I like that drum part. I might record an electric piano part here, but then ultimately I might try different bass variations, okay? And once I have all these different variations that I want to do, I can ultimately move them and create a grouping with them. Now, before we get there, how can we put in notes inside these patterns that we have available? Well, one way we can put them is directly in through the keys this way in a real-time fashion. Another way is we can go ahead and use what we call TR-Rec, and we can use this kind of a step bass in here. Now, notice in this one, we can also access all 64 measures. So we can really get real nice in-depth in here too and put them this way. Now, the great thing about this method is we can go ahead and do patterns, create patterns from either the pattern mode directly or from the TR-Rec. Another great thing about that is we can edit both of them in either format, from the pattern or TR-Rec, or from TR-Rec to pattern. So we're going to demonstrate that. Now, as I said earlier, when I have a group of patterns, and let me go ahead and bring something up on here so you guys can see, I have these patterns here, and right now they're lined up in a very nice motion. But here's what I can do. I can hit the grouping button, and there's already some groups here. I can actually come into here. Let's do a new grouping, and I can say, you know what? I want to go ahead and grab. I have it turned down so you can't hear. I can grab this guy, this guy. I can grab different ones together. I can press and hold and mute different patterns if I wanted to, and just bring them in. I can have them in any group order that I want. So once I decide which patterns I want to group together, I can press grouping, and I can say, let's go ahead and group this one. So this will make my group. All right, so stay with me. I'm going to say, let's set that group. And yes, I am sure. So that particular group, and I'll rename this, and let's go ahead and name this example, and then we'll do 1. Okay. So now I have example 1, and let's set that so everybody's the same. We're all good. Okay, that is written there. So now I have taken these random group of patterns and put them together. Let's do one more just so you guys can see, because I know everybody complains, but this is actually a really cool thing. I could say in this next section of my song, I don't want everybody to play, so I can press and hold a pattern until it mutes, And see, this one's playing, but I could press and hold it, and ultimately it will mute right there. Let's go ahead and stop it. And it'll mute right here. Okay, so Darn it. All right, so I have it muted. So now if I want, I can have just these group of patterns together. So let's go ahead and say grouping. And I'm going to say put all of these together, and I'm going to put them in another initialized group, and I'm going to set and OK. So I have this one, and I'm going to go ahead and rename it before I go on further, and we'll rename this one example 2. All right, and let's set it. Okay, so I have it set. I have now 2 different groups here. 2 groups, and ultimately I can have up to 16 groups. But remember, each group can be anywhere from 1 measure pattern up to 64 measures. So that's a lot to go for there. So let's say what's going on here. So after I do that, I can go to the groups, and I can determine how much they play back. So I could say in this group example 1, I could say, you know what, I want you to play back 4 times. Okay, great. And then I can say on this one, I want you to play back 1 time, 2 times, 8 times. How long? Up to 64 times. So this could be very, very hip. I can go ahead and just take it however I want. And let's have it do 8 bars. So I have these 2 groups. One's playing 4, one's playing 8. And I have these other ones that are from the song. I could have them play back. Now here's a cool thing. We have patterns, groups, and song. All right, watch this. Once I take a pattern and I go to a group, I'm at a crossroads. That group can either be used to with the other groups to construct a song, to make a song. Or if I use maybe a pad mode, I'll go to pad mode here. Let me exit out of this 1 second. I'll go to pad mode. I can have group play number 11. And I can go ahead and have the groups launch, up to 16 groups launch from the pads. So that being said, I could use them more in a live situation and have them fire off in any way that I want. So for instance, if I had group 1 being the intro, group 2 being verse 1, group 3 being verse 2, maybe I have a chorus in the next group, I have maybe a solo section on the next group, I could go ahead and ending, bridge, I could have them launch from the group play. That's one way, because remember I said groups, you're at a crossroads of how you can go ahead and have the song be constructed. One is group play, so in a live situation, I can go ahead and in a live situation, I can dynamically, real time, however you want to say it, have these sections of the songs group play in any order that I want. Now that being said, I could go back into groups here. I have them all set. Now I know the arrangement that I want them to have. I can go in and press make song, and now I can go ahead and arrange them. So let's go ahead and delete everything that's here. And we're going to do this again with I'm going to play some patterns. We're going to create groups, and we're going to ultimately create a song. But I wanted to go over this with you first. So I could say, you know what, that example 1, let's call that maybe a verse. I can say, let's go ahead and add that right here. Okay, great. And let's say I want to go to example 2. So now I have that one. I'll go ahead and add that one. I'm going to add it twice. I'm going to go over here to the B section, and I'm going to say I'm going to add that once. I'm going to go over here to the C section. I'm going to add that, and then I'm going to go back to example 1, and I'm going to add that. So now I have this order. So what do I have here? How many measures do I have? Well, let's take a look at the song. Once I'm in the song, it's going to play back in these orders, okay? So it's going to play back 1 time each. But remember, each one of these groups can be different lengths. Remember that. So when we went there, this guy is going to be 4 bars. This one will be 8. This one could be 11, 6. So when we go to that song area, I'm going to go back to the song, they're going to be really playing in that way. Now check this out. We can go to the edit, and we can tell it, well, maybe I need this guy to repeat 2 times. I could say, you know what, I need you to repeat 2 times through. Oh, Maybe I need this one because it's a solo section. I need you to repeat 4 times through. Maybe it's a 4-bar section, but I need it to be 16 bars. I can go ahead and do that. And if I want to here, I could say, oh, I didn't mean to do that one. I want to go ahead and delete it. Okay. Or maybe I want to go ahead and copy. Ooh, I didn't mean to delete that. Let's go ahead and copy it and put it at the end. So I can say, you know what, let's go. You see the arrow right there. It's highlighted. And you see the arrow moving as I'm moving my cursor. I can put it at the end and say, all right, put it there. Execute. That's the destination. And there it is. Okay. I can go ahead in a live situation. I could say, you know what, let's go ahead and have this section loop. And I can say, what do I want to loop? I can say, I want you to loop from here to here in a live situation. And I want to have a loop switch play live. So even playing back these groups in a linear fashion, I can go ahead and control maybe a particular section where I want it to just loop and just stay there until I turn the loop off. This is really, really cool. I can do that. So right in there. And I think I'm pretty much ready. If I wanted to, I could exit one time. I have all these parameters set of all these groups. And then if I wanted to, all I would do would just go ahead and press play, and it would start at the beginning. Notice it's playing through that guy one time. That one, I think in that example, happened to be 4 bars. On this next one, as it moves over, it's going to be played back twice. And I think this one's going to be 8 bars, so that means it's going to play back 16. So which could be a bridge or a chorus. We could have that in there. And if we needed to, we could go back and have it play until we are done with it. I'm going to go ahead and turn on loop, and this is playing live, so I have the loop playing. Everything's still playing. Exit one time. That loop is still on right there, and it's waiting for it to come to there. So you see, I'm actually playing back the song in a linear fashion. When I'm creating in the patterns, I'm creating the song. I'm building the song, okay? So, and it is recording back in a linear fashion as well. So this is something that's also very cool. All right, so I'm going through this. I don't think we're going to wait the whole time, but because I want to get to the other video so we can actually build a song in here so you can see. But let's say, what if I'm done with my song? This is the particular arrangement I want to have it in. We can go ahead and stop. I'm going to take that loop off. I'm going to go ahead and have that loop off. And this is the arrangement. All right, great. How can I export this song as a WAV file? It's actually very easy. I'm going to go ahead and get out of the group play pad mode. I'm going to put it in sample pad. That's fine. And I'm going to go to sampling. Once I'm in sampling, I'm going to say, hey, I want to sample something. Where am I going to put it? Well, I'm going to put it to the pads because remember the pad section has 2 gigabytes of memory here, and each pad can have up to 1 hour of audio. So you have to do your logic there, but remember, you'll have to do your calculations. But remember, the pad section will accept WAV and MP3. So if we are sampling directly to the pads, we are sampling as a 16-bit WAV file. So I'm going to go ahead and press the pad sample, and I need to determine what I'm going to do. And I say, all right, I'm going to sample probably to right here, and I can always bring this back, and that's where I'm going to put it. And now I'm going to say, let's go to sampling. And it says, hey, that's going to be overwritten. And I'm saying, yeah, that's okay. So now this is pretty much ready. I haven't pressed anything yet. Only thing I would have to do is push auto trigger. It's waiting for my input of my song. And all I got to do is press play. So I'm going to press play now. Oh, before I do that, I almost forgot. Sampling mode input, I'm going to say, well, we're getting only this from the keyboard only. Okay, so that's fine. And if I wanted to, I could have somebody play in and I could record them both simultaneously to the pads. Just a real rough, nice stereo mix. So I'm all set on auto trigger, and I press play. So now, as you see, it's playing back that song that we arranged to play back in a linear fashion. We started off in a pattern base, and we kind of decided on the tracks and what patterns go with other patterns. Once we decided on which ones fit together, we actually created them in groups. and we organize them in groups to say, let's put this sound with this sound and this track with this track, and there is actually a group. Next, from the groups, we went into the groupings, and we told it, well, how long do I want each of these groups to play back? And I decided there what they play back, any number of measures. Once I went there, I went to my song, and I started to arrange those groups in a linear fashion. Once they're arranged in a linear fashion, I could further go in and say, well, I want this section, this group, to play maybe 4 bars, maybe 8 bars, maybe 2 bars, and have it repeat how many times I needed to repeat until I get my desired length of a song right there. Also, we went in, and for a live situation, we were able to turn on a loop that we could trigger live. That's something real cool for playback. Now, what we're doing here once again is I am just playing the song. Well, I'm not listening to it right now because we're not there yet, but I wanted to give you maybe the fundamentals of sequencing in here. And we are taking that song and turning it into a pad sample, which will be 16-bit WAV file. And it will record up to 60 minutes or 2 gigs, whichever it comes first. Okay, so most songs 3 to 5 minutes, you'll have plenty of time, and it's going to save it to the thumb drive, and then you can export it. And we'll have a video that's going to show this directly, but I wanted you guys to kind of see. Remember, we can start off in a pattern. Once we have the different patterns and we determine which ones fit well together, we can actually group them together. Once we're at a group, we're at a crossroads where we can determine if we want to launch and play those groups live using pad mode group play, or we can also take those particular groups and now line them up in a linear fashion to construct a song. Once we're in the song, we can go ahead and take those groups and determine how many times they repeat. Just kind of determine how you want it to just play back that way. And then also we can go ahead and set up a loop for a particular section of the song. Once again, once I'm done with my song and I've determined this is the arrangement that I like, I want to go ahead and share it with my friends, play it in the car, I can go ahead and sample it into the pad section of the FANTOM-O. And remember, I have 2 gigs for that section, and I can record up to 60 minutes of a 16-bit WAV file, 16-bit WAV file, and it will save ultimately to the USB thumb drive, provided you have room, which you should have plenty of room there. So as you can see, we've recorded over 3 minutes. When I am done and I am ready to stop, all I have to do is I can press the stop button here if I want, or just directly here. I'll press it here because I would probably go ahead and get a little bit of a tail at the end there. There we go. And then I would press stop. Once it's here, I can go ahead and go into my sample utility. I could go ahead and normalize it to make sure it's at a very nice, healthy volume. And then I could also go ahead and export that wave and export it to the thumb drive. Because right now, if you did not export, it would solely live inside the pads. All right, so this is just I wanted to discuss this first before we get into actual sequencing, just kind of break down the sequencer with pattern, group, and song, and also the fact that there is kind of a linear sequencer in there, just FYI. So I hope this video helps you out. Let's go ahead and move on to the subsequent videos where we're going to really get in there and make some music. All right, you guys take care, and we'll talk to you soon.